You can join us? Okay. But see, sir, our future. Elements of garlic here was and so
I will call the meeting to order. Meeting of Board of Directors, Johnson County, 6:02.
Please silence your phone, because I'm doing it right now for myself. So don't worry.
Appreciate your turnout. And I'd like to ask you to the invitation.
Father in heaven, we want to thank you for this day. Thanks for this evening that we have. Father, just thank you for our country and the things that we have. Father, I ask you to be with the board of directors tonight as we hold this meeting. Father, I ask you to be with each and every person that showed up with a concern. Father, watch over them and their families, give them a safe trip home. Father, let's do the business of Johnson County and do the things you want us to do, Father. Give us your wisdom, your kindness, and your love that you show each and every one of us, regardless of where we come from, what we do. Father, just ask for that love and kindness on our families, and ask for prosperity, health, and wealth for each person that's represented. And ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Yes, everyone to rise and join us in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the Texas pledge. For those of you who don't know it, it's about to show up.
It's up there. It's up there. Oh, there it is. That's why I'm looking up here like I'll put nose drops.
Yeah.
Honor
I pledge allegiance to thee as one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you.
I'd like to, this time, recognize any elected official. If you would stand up and just tell us your name and your position.
Mayor Lisa Parrish from the City of Keene.
Councilor Rob Foster from City of Keene. Chris Langford, Mayor Godley.
Jim? I know you're doing
Almost. You're almost. Go ahead.
It's a pretty good GA election, Johnson County.
I want to thank all of you for attending. All right, first item on the agenda is consent agenda. We normally consent agenda, pass all these items, the minutes of the August 15th meeting, the financial report for August, and taxpayer liaison officer's report as a single item, unless unless a member of the board wants to pull one off and set it. Any, board member want to?
I'd like to hold the financial report.
Okay. Anything else? All right, I'll entertain a minute to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item D, financial report.
Make a motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You would report your vote electronically, and then we'll open the floor for discussion of item B.
Okay.
You're up there.
I have just one question, and Jim, I guess it's you. I looked at the financials to date through August. Yes, sir. And I realized not everything is spread evenly throughout the year. If I take that divided by 8 times 12, it shows that we might total of that about $100,000. Do you believe we're going to be on budget by the end of the year? Yes, sir. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes. I hear a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve.
Second. I'll take it.
Motion to approve the financial report.
Thank you.
Mr. Hurley.
I know that we approve the financial report.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Record your vote electronically. All right, the next item on the agenda, item 2, we got a director, Toby Ford, who resigned effective September 1. I need a motion to accept his resignation as a director.
I move that we accept the resignation of Cody Ford.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Record your vote, please. Next item on the agenda, item 3, approve the Texas Municipal League Intergovernmental Risk Pool Board of Trustees election ballot. I think what we need to do is decide who we're going to vote for. Any of the directors have preferences? Have you seen the ballot? You want to offer candidates to vote for them? If not, I've looked at it, I'll offer my opinion, place 11. Let me preface it with this. As a board responsible for the risk pool, I look for somebody with experience in risk management, risk assessment, or financial and accounting type background that could potentially bring some insight and experience to the board. Having said that, for position 11, I prefer Robert Davis. Place 12, Judy Zepeda. Place 13, Harlan Jefferson. And place 14, my plan is unopposed. Any discussions, any comments?
I agree with you.
I agree.
as well.
Yeah, I second the motion.
And,
Who makes the motion?
Oh, I thought you did.
I move that we accept.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
All right.
Item 4 is the CAD budget. We're going to move that down on the agenda. And we're going to go to item 5, subcommittee reports.
have 3 subcommittees that have done some work. All right, the bank subcommittee, Amy Lingo chair. Amy, do you have a report?
This is on, no, we have not met yet. So,
Okay. The next committee is the appraisal process consulting committee. Chair of that, Mike Mizell, is absent this evening. So that committee has met. We've developed a preliminary scope, which I will read, and then we will present a plan in October meeting to move forward. The scope of work: 1, review the appraisal process, Johnson County CAD and ARB from end to end. Identify any flaws and systemic issues within the process and recommend corrective action. 2, review personnel performance and identify any issues such as various training, job knowledge, competencies, etc. 3, review discrepancies between like properties within Johnson County and ascertain reasons for the inequities, such as biases, lack of training, favoritism, nepotism, etc. Item 4, review current policies, such as Central Appraisal District, ARB, and recommend any changes to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of the said policies. Ensure that all policies are in compliance with current laws, and if not, recommend corrective action to ensure compliance. And we will take that scope and put it into a request for bid to go to the consulting company. More on that in next month's meeting. The next committee is the reappraisal plan committee. Who has worked diligently. You will see the results of their work shortly. They work with the Central Appraisal District staff and Jim Husband. This is a real significant. The form and structure of the plan has been approved. Thank you for all your work on that. And so the committee report, I'm going to ask the chair, Larry Trammell, to briefly read the summary, and then the one page at the heart of the reappraisal plan will be of interest to me. Very good floor.
Okay, yes. Okay, first I want to say that we put together a subcommittee, including Tina White, Amy Lingo, myself, went through the entire plan, identified a number of areas that would want to be addressed. Again, I have to thank Amy Gill for getting the funds professional and well organized. Thank you very much. And Jim too, I went through the whole thing with Jim, and Jim was instrumental in helping me to understand, especially the laws and regulations that run the plan. So. I'm going to tell you what we're recommending after I do one quick thing. And the one quick thing is I want everybody to understand what the reappraisal process does, what its role is in property tax. What's the role of the reappraisal in property tax? And the role is this. The taxing entities determine the budget for their organization. And then the law specifies that that will be spread across a base of property tax, property values. And so what the CAD does, the CAD simply goes out and does an evaluation and appraises the properties in the county. And we provide that total value to the taxing entities, and then the taxing entities calculate the rate that they are going to charge. We don't do that. Only the taxing entities get to do that. And then, my friend Scott Porter, not here tonight, simply sends out the bills and collects. He's the tax assessor collector. He multiplies the value of each property times the rate for each of the taxing entity, determines how much taxes to be collected, and he collects it. Okay, so that's the way it works. So I want you to know, I've talked to almost every person in this room, about this. And I hear what you are saying. And what we have determined is best for the county is to go to a 3-year property tax appraisal cycle. We're allowed to do that. We're allowed to do that by law, and we looked into it in great detail and believe that that will work just fine for us. Okay, I want to read to you only 4 sentences from the transmittal letter that we provided for the reappraisal plan. We have 4 essential changes. The first of the changes is to adjust the property tax appraisal cycle from every year to every 3 years, as allowed by statute. Very simple. That's what we're doing. The second substantial change is we've added language to the plan that says no property value will be increased. No property value will be increased without clear and convincing evidence. And then the third substantial change is that we will not increase the 2024 appraised value in 25 or 26. So it'll move out to 2027. There are a few exceptions to that are required by law. I couldn't change those. Maybe Craig can help me change them down in Austin, but we're going to work. But it says if a reappraisal is ordered due to changing markets or in response to the state study as detailed above, and that would require Johnson County Appraisal District action and approval. The second one is the appraised value of the resident's homestead is below the market value and must be raised as required by Tax Code 23.23. A lot of you are familiar with that. It can raise up to, by 10% per year. Is that right, Jim? Yes, sir. 10%. Okay, the third one is the appraised value of property qualified for the circuit breaker is below the market value and must be raised as required by Tax Code 23.231. That's the one where it's not a homestead, but we've got a circuit breaker on there at 20%. Yes, 20%. So we'd have to do that. And then the last one is provide for new property improvements and property that's state taxation reappraisal in the prior year. I built a new building on my land. They're going to increase my taxes because of that. I know that. So we have to do that. Okay, so the very last, the fourth significant change relates to strengthening the relationship between the CAD appraisal process and the USPAP, we call that, the Uniform Standards for Professional Appraisal Practice. I'm sorry Peter Spencer's not here right now, because he ain't clapping about that. So that's the last one that we decided to do. Okay.
The last sentence.
The last sentence. Oh, yeah, thank you. Oh, you told me I could only read the 4. It says, as we progress into actual reappraisal process, we reserve the right to modify the plan as necessary to meet this office's requirements as set forth in the Texas Property Tax Code. So we're going to comply with the code. There can be some changes in laws, guys. And if there are, we're going to change this plan. We call this a living document. This is now a living document. This is the new reappraisal plan, and it's a living document. It's going to change over time. And if it does, we'll let you know what changes we're making. Do any of you still want me to read the appraisal activities on page 19?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. So this is the real heart of the plan, because it talks about the 3-year appraisal.
Larry, can I interject?
Yeah.
This plan is 93 pages long.
Right.
You're going to read one page. Totally, no more than 1 page.
You can read it slowly.
Yeah. No, I'll read it really fast, and that way we'll get through all 92 pages. Okay, the JCAD Board of Directors has instructed the Chief Appraiser to do the following. Number 1, adjust the reappraisal cycle from every year to every 3 years. Hooray! Second one, JCAD will not raise market values without clear and convincing evidence by the Texas Property Code 23.01. Third one, we're going to sustain the 2024 values for 2025 and 6. We'll hold it over to both of those years, except for properties that are required to be looked at by law. That includes business, personal property, through additions, mineral properties, utility properties, and industrial. The next one is the following requires a JCAD board of directors action and approval. Number one is if we were to do a reappraisal due to changing markets, the board would have to approve that. The plan doesn't allow for it unless we approve it. Okay, the second one is reappraisal in response to a state study. You know, the state does a study and we're supposed to be within 5%, plus or minus that study. And so if we get that in, and if we're worried to death that there's a problem, we could call a board meeting and we could elect to do a reappraisal. Also, reappraisal that property values decrease substantially. Many of you told me this. Many of you. I've read a lot on the internet that tells me we may see property values decline over the next couple of years. So if they do, we have a provision to be able to reappraise. Okay, the appraised values of a residence homestead, which is the homestead cap loss, is below the market and must be raised as required by the Texas Property Tax Code 23.23. Again, that's the law. I couldn't change it. The appraised value of a property qualified for the circuit breaker, I'm talking about that earlier, is below the market and must be raised as required by Texas Property Code 23.231. To provide for new property or improvements and property that escaped taxation, if it was somehow omitted, they didn't see my address somehow, well, then we would put it back in. And lastly, continue to follow use tax guidelines as required by Texas Property Code. Okay, and that's it. Okay? So this is the recommendation of the subcommittee on the 2025-2026 reappraisal plan that I submit for your approval.
Yes, thank you, Larry.
Okay, first off, I'd like to say I'm very proud of you all for taking this on because it's a lot of words. And you had to sit through a lot of words to get there. Secondly, I hope that the changes in the appraisal cycle will help with some of the pressure that has been felt by the people who do the appraisals and listen to the reasons that their appraisal is wrong. Because I know that enormous amount of hours is tied up in the appraisals. And if this can calm the waters and make the hearings less calculus, it would help the bottom line. It would decrease the cost and budget of the CAD. It would also just take a little bit of the edge off of what's going on with them, because I can barely imagine what it would be like to deal with feeling like I'm getting cheated people all day long. I would have difficulty getting to work in the morning. And if this spreads it out and makes it a little more manageable, I hope that this is what happens with the other side of the equation. Because this is the CAD that we look out for. And you guys have put that ability into this document. And it takes an untenable situation and makes it a win-win. And that's what I know is a, so thank you very much.
Okay, any other comments? Now we'll move to item 6.
I want to make a comment that cut down on some of the manpower required by Jones County Central Appraisal District, and you can find more information online to prepare for discussing your properties with the Central Appraisal District. So we're gonna work on the schedules, the codes, and all of that. We want to make as much as we can legally possibly make available to you online and at your fingertips and easy for you to access. I just wanted to add that to this development plan.
There's just a little piece in there. And that is, there is a process that will help you get better results if you want to change your place. If you follow a pattern that works, you will be good. If you just go and protest or something like that, you may not get the best result. So there is, like everything else in the world, there's a process. And we'll put that as easily as possible for you to get in your mind and make your plans.
Okay.
Point of information.
All right, Tina.
This is probably a technical question for Mr. Hempstead. I lost questions and a lot of research as I was reading this to understand some. I bet it's just a fraction of what's actually in here. But there's a portion of the replacement plan that talks about highest and best use, HBU, and it talks about highest and best use. Typically for a residential property is going to be residential. For other properties, it's not necessarily how the property is currently being used. Is there a law that says that? Is that an appraisal standard? And maybe it's a question for Bruce, I'm sorry. Where does, because I read the report and it talks about must and shall, but I'm like, well, where does it say that has to be the case?
The two main reasons for that are statutory that are in the code. One deals with the evaluation of land underneath a home where the home is next to agricultural property. That's required to be, the land is supposed to be as if it were agricultural property and not residential property. And that's in the code. The other one is, and this, if you have a residence that is in a commercial area, you don't always value the residence as it would, as the highest and best use would be as commercial property.
Right.
We value it as a residence, and that also is in the code.
For a commercial property, or there could be a difference in valuation based on, I guess, a vacant lot today, there's nothing on it, but its highest and best use might be a commercial enterprise. So I would presume that that would lead to a higher appraised value than a fair lot.
Could be. Because I asked that be commercial. And then if it's residential, it's more like residential. So the way the code's written is highest and best use. Not every state uses that, but Texas does.
It is in the tax code?
Yes.
Thank you. The tax code is huge.
So we have Bruce.
It keeps me important.
Anything else?
Point of information, Mr. Chair.
We're not open for audience participation, I think. We'll be short. All right. Item 6 is the public hearing on the CAD reappraisal plan for 2025 and 2026. So I'll open the public hearing at 6:30 p.m. And people who have signed up to speak. First line up here. Can't read, I think it's on. That's a little lane.
We do the public.
Okay.
Tommy, take that right. 5610, Luther Lane. Is that you? Sorry, is that you?
I live myself in Texas. I thought it was a public area, so I didn't sign up. I'm gonna sign up now.
All right. Tommy, Lawrence last. Okay,
I'm the 56 in Winter Lane.
that's you. All right, come up to the podium, please.
So my name's Fonnie Castillo.
Excuse me, Tommy, before you speak. We have a 3-minute time limit that we impose on every speaker. So while we get the microphone fixed, please keep your comments to 3 minutes. Just if you don't time it, she'll let you know when your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, again, my name is Fonzie Castillo, so I live at 56 in Winter Lane. First thing I want to say is, thank you guys for the time that y'all spent on this paperwork. Specifically, I came to vote on this 3-year plan that y'all did approve of. So Larry, thank you for reading all that. One of the big things that I noticed was, at the end of this 3 years, are we going to get this great spike to make up for the 3 years that it wasn't reappraised? Second thing, you guys say that you're not in charge of the tax raise, you are just propose what it is and send it out. Then it goes to, who is in charge of that? I see superintendents making $400,000, $500,000 a year, which I personally feel their main objective is to push this revenue. I see the boards that they put together that is specifically designed to get together to spike what our houses are actually worth versus what they're really worth. They say that my house is worth $240,000. Yet across town we have houses brand new being built for $275,000. Well, I want to sell my house for that $240,000 and buy the brand new house for $30,000. Nobody's going to buy my house for that $240,000 when a brand new house right across town is only $30,000 more. That's all I really had to say. But thank you guys for pre-approving that.
To answer your question, the tax rate is set by the taxing units, not the simple price. All right. Next is Greg Cooper.
Good evening, Board. Treasurer. I want to thank you guys for what you've done today. I go all over Johnson County, and you consistently see a lot of big talk and very little action. What you did today is bold, or hopefully you'll do today, is bold, decisive, and exactly what you guys ran on doing, and I want to thank you. Chief Appraiser, you've been in battle, and you've taken a big lump. Hopefully this is a step to regaining some confidence, and you've acknowledged that there may be some problems, and hopefully those problems can be rectified. The tax code allows you guys to do this. I've watched Arlington, all the ISDs up in Arlington come out, and Tarrant County come out and hammer the Central Appraisal District. Mr. Trout, you're absolutely correct. The taxing entities set the tax rate, and it's you guys provide a bucket of money. Their budgets are what they need to pull out of that bucket of money. The tax rates are an unknown math variable. I fully hope that what your action today will do is prevent some of these taxing entities from doing things such as telling people that they hate students, telling people they hate teachers, telling people they are pro-tornado attracting portables, because what they do consistently is they blame you guys. They blame you guys when they're overtaxing people. They drop tax rates by a cent or two, and they try to claim a victory that they're stewarding taxpayer money well, when they're absolutely destroying property owners in Johnson County. You have made it more difficult for them to do that today, not more difficult to get their budget, more difficult to hide from their decisions, more difficult to run from them overtaxing. You guys should be commended today. I hope it becomes very, very clear where a lot of these problems arise with who is causing the overtaxation here. Yes, there's a problem with property appraisals. I hope that the downtime that you guys have every year, you go to clear up some of these roles, and some of the extra time that you have, you can clean up some of that. You really do. Make best use of that time. But you really need to get the focus on these taxing entities and how they're crushing people because they're blaming you guys, and it's wrong what they do. They're going to do it in the bond elections, they're going to do it in the block tree elections, and they're going to do it when they propose their budget. They're doing it right now. Some, like Grandview Kirby Basham, he's doing a solid job. Other ones are absolutely crushing the taxpayers. You guys should be committed for what you're doing. You're putting the responsibility where it belongs with them. Thank you very much.
Daniel Bennett, no, that's Joe.
Yeah, I go by Daniel when I speak.
All right.
If somebody wants to write me a check. I'm Daniel Bennett, I live in White Sullivan, Tarrant County. I appreciate what Stone just said. I just came from the CAD meeting this morning. They were unhappy campers, the ISDs. I think more so because they were given a chance to address and adjust. So not so much that we went to a 2-year, not a 3-year. We tried to do 3. I wasn't a fan of 3, and I'll tell you why. Because I think the value study test, you have to be able to be documented, as you said, Larry. So I appreciate that. You articulated that a lot better than our board did. I filmed it. I'll probably press the video down share. But I do want to say this. If you guys go to a 3 and you have contiguous ISD that lays in the Tarrant and lays in Johnson, like Pearls ISD, there will be a small shift in penalty to the Tarrant County property owner. Because you're going to use every 3, you know, both the ours every 2, so there's going to be a shift. I don't know how much a shift will be. And, you know, we don't have that many properties that are currently at market value, they're at appraised value, and they still go up 10%. So, I wanted to point that out. And then when clear and convincing evidence, that's something TAD has never done. I never done property justice, but I'm sure you have the same issues. We, in our reappraisal, can put 5%. Instead, see, the tax code says $1,000. And it's been this since 1980. 1980 good, 2024 bad. So we put 5%. So they have to come in and say, your property has gone up more than 5%, and here's why, to make clear and convincing evidence. So I would like you to, maybe, at a future date, consider that. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Of course, my name is Craig Huntley, and tonight I'm speaking on behalf of Ms. Helen Kerwin, our new district, our future District 58 state representative. She had to fly to town this evening on business. And this is to the directors of Johnson County Central Appraisal District. Allow me to commend each of you for your willingness to consider changing the frequency of the appraisal cycle of real property, as well as for seeking public input and openly discussing the pros and cons of this challenging issue. I am well aware that you are besieged by competing interests as you consider this issue. On the one hand, there are the taxing entities, cities, counties, school districts, etc., whose funding depends on the revenue generated from the appraisal value of real property. On the other hand are the citizens who must fund the taxing entities by being forced to pay taxes on their property they own. And as inflation causes the appraised value of the property to increase, the property owners each year are required to pay inflated amounts on gains that are very rarely realized unless the property owner decides to sell or liquidate the property. In reality, the root of the problem resides in Austin. And if I am sworn into office this coming January as your new District 58 state representative, eliminating property tax once and for all will be at the top of my list of priorities. Until that day arrives when property taxes cease to exist in Texas, you have the opportunity to bring at least some relief to the tax-free property owners of Johnson County. I urge you to change the appraisal cycle to no more than once every 3 years. Reassure your constituents that you hear them and that you have their backs. And likewise, I hope that you will do all in your power to limit or cap the amount of increases of future property appraisals as a further preventative measure to ensure that fluctuations in the economy won't inflict undue financial harm on the citizens of Johnson County. I trust that you will zealously protect the rights of all property owners to request reappraisals of their properties at any time should they feel that they are being unfairly taxed. Please know that for as long as you have the backs of the Johnson County property owners, I will always have the backs as you inevitably encounter resistance to changes such as these. If any state agency should endeavor to influence any of you in any way to the detriment of those you serve, I will do all in my power to advocate for you against any undue pressure. Ms. Helen Kerwin, our future state rep.
Anyone else want to make comments on this reappraisal plan?
I would.
Sorry, this is it. State your name.
My name is Mayor Lisa Parrish from the city of Keene. I want to thank you all for letting me speak tonight. Mr. Hudson, I want to address you briefly. I want to thank you on behalf of myself and the council for coming to our meeting last week. I appreciate your willingness to listen to us and answer our questions. You said you anticipated a vote tonight to move the appraisals to every 3 years, and I would like to voice my support for moving the appraisals every 3 years as well. I think that sends a message to Austin that we, the citizens, are not happy with how the appraisals are being handled. We all understand inflation and the importance of supporting our entities and our schools, but here's the bottom line. We have no more money to give. Our expenses, including that of home ownership, have surpassed our income. And we are telling you, as nicely as we can, we don't want to live on the street. We don't want to live under a bridge. I have friends that are renting out their children's bedrooms to keep from selling their home. And that is sad. So please, when you all vote tonight on this issue, do so with empathy for those that live paycheck to paycheck, for those with young children, for those that are on fixed incomes but whose taxes are not frozen. And please offer them some relief and peace of mind tonight that there is hope for a brighter tomorrow. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak? Yes, sir. State your name, please.
My name is Jack Marshall. I live here in Joshua. I'm the report. Mr. Hudson does a great job. He has not. Outstanding. Thank you. Question pertaining to the 3-year plan. What information is going to be used to determine if these property values went up or down? That's required in 2031 or January.
We'll do racial studies and all. We'll have to keep studying because the state comptroller is going to do their property value study in 2025, the year coming up. It's a study year. They're going to study our values. If we leave them at 24's values, they'll study them. Because we'll move most of them over to 25, except for those exceptions. They'll do a study, and if we fall out of that study, the school districts would get grace unless we're 10% lower than that 95 to 105. That low limit is 95%, or 5% there. If you take 10% of that, it's 9.5%. If it goes below 85 and a half, basically, I'm just trying to calculate the number like it. They fall out of grace automatically. There's also a MAPS review that we do that if we don't pass that MAPS review, a school district could fall out of grace. So we'll have to continually study to see what sells versus what we have. And we don't know what they're going they tell us what value to put on, because Mr. Huntley has said that many times, that the comptroller does not call us and say, you gotta have this value. But they do that property value study, school district property value study. How they're going to, how the state, TEA and all, spreads that money out to all the different school districts throughout Texas. If we fall out of that, they're out of grace, they can start losing. Mr. Gooding talked to the comptroller's office also. They do not take money, they just don't fill the bucket up as much. The entity, I'm using school district because that's the one that the study affects the most. If the school district locally doesn't do their part, from the state, I'm using a brain, like a ball of water. They pour in the bucket, there could be a gap there. Because they're not pouring it all in, they take some of it back. So, we'll have to continually study, because that's one of the exceptions we put in there, because Tarrant County has it where it's going to freeze the values. Well, if they start going down, y'all want us to go down, correct? I'm assuming. But if the way they wrote there, it looks like it would freeze it. Well, we didn't want that. We wanted the ability to lower it. If we find a district, if this passes, the appraisal district, we would have to come to the board and say, this school district is so far out, they could lose some funding. We'd have to prove it to the board. And of course, y'all would be at that meeting to show that that's what we have to do. We just have to continue to keep studying to make sure we're in compliance with the law and all.
That's a great answer, and that's a lot of moving parts.
Yes, sir.
Specifically, I go, why don't you stop in real estate?
Yes.
I can make a phone call right now and find out exactly what my property value is based on the market today.
Yes.
I don't need to study for that. Do we have an idea, a provision to do something other than rely on the state's study?
We do our study in-house.
We do our study in-house with local title companies, real estate.
Yeah, we use
it.
all but we're trying to use all of that.
Okay, so, I just want to make sure that I understand the topic. I don't. Come January, my property's worth $50 today. You're gonna do the study, and it's worth $60. I call my mortgage company and say, I want to sell it, and they say it's worth $45. Is that clear and convincing evidence for me to come to you and say, hey, they said $45, y'all said $60.
I would like you to bring that information to us.
Hypothetically, I'm not here to make
No, I'm just saying, if you would bring some of that to us, it helps us. You know, when values are going down, they'll bring their closing statements, they'll bring it all. If it's going up, you're not required by law to share that information. So it's, if we're here and you get to 45, let's say, you know, we sold it for 45, you're gonna bring that in and say, hey, that's 45.
And if I could just interject, if we're in the middle of the 3 years and you are not at your reappraisal point, even if they did their analysis and just your property's at 60, that may not mean that they're going to come and ask for that area to be reappraised. And if they do,
And the other thing is, if it does go down,
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
if it does go down during this time, okay, you said, I'm valued at 60, here, the mortgage company said, no, it's worth 45. You can still come in and talk to us, and if we can't work out something, you still go to the ARD. Or the appraisal people.
What you come in and file.
And everyone in the room heard that.
Yes.
Say file.
That's important, sorry. You can file a rendition every year and say, I think my property's worth this much. Well, we have to see the notice. we sent out appraisal notices, the values go up over $1,000. Okay? And then when they were talking about the 23, the 10% increase, we have your market value right. Let's say we had it right. But we started off down here at 100,000. We can only raise it 10% a year. So I want everybody to understand that when you get your tax bill or a notice and you see that it went up 10% on that appraised value, that's not frozen. This market value is what's going to stay here.
And that's the question, the market value.
Yes, sir.
That's not a question. I'm probably the only one in the room that doesn't trust the state of Texas to determine how to study. That's my concern. Is what I've heard so far is the state of Texas is going to do this study. Johnson County, Mr. Husband's going to do his own study, and what if those are matched?
We appeal those to the state. If we think we've got information that shows that they're wrong, we appeal.
And who's we?
The appraisal district.
All of us.
Not the staff. The staff.
Okay.
We will go down there and get the school district to give us permission to go to like an ARB at the state.
Got it. Okay, that's enough. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to speak on the
Yep.
reappraisal plan?
Thanks, James Brown, longtime Johnson County resident. I want to address you guys and you guys. Thank you for hearing us and giving us a little bit of time to continue to organize and push forth an effort to totally eliminate property taxes. This is not a victory. Okay, this is just a pause.
Yeah.
Like in a fighting match. Okay, between rounds, to get our breath, to get organized, and to present logical information and start holding these school districts accountable.
Yeah.
The taxing entities need to learn to work within their damn budget.
That's right.
Okay? How often is the city of Burleson going to change out the foliage in the median on one side? Okay? How long are we going to let school districts?
Brown, you need to talk to the board, not talk.
Okay. How long are we going to continue to let school districts provide notebooks, laptops for students and still spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on workbooks?
Yeah.
If they can get the information online, they don't need workbooks. We need to hold the school districts and the cities accountable. We need to go, any school district in Johnson County that has a bond issue needs to be told no. We don't care if you put mobiles on the school or whatever. We need to be organized and present that and say enough is enough. Everybody in here has a budget. It seems like, except the freaking government, except the crackheads that run the government entities. And the tax dollars. So we need to start holding them accountable. And it's disgusting that we can have 10,000 members in a group and can't even fill up a freaking room with 200 people in attendance. So contact your friends, tell them to get off their butt and come down here. If they want to reap the benefits, they need to, start assisting in the efforts.
Yeah.
School board.
Anyone else, anything to say? Thanks.
I think I'm down for later, but this is regarding property taxes, so I'm going to talk. It's in public. My name is Sonia Griffin. I have lived in the 900 block of Surrey Place since 1998. I have noticed a huge discrepancy in valuation, especially the modern land.
Can't hear you. Speaking of the mic.
Is the mic, is it turned off?
It's on.
Yeah. Okay, so years ago, I noticed a huge discrepancy in the evaluation. That's what struck me. I found out about this meeting last night. I went home and crunched numbers at 4 a.m. And so what I did, since I'm on the west side, I compared neighborhoods on the west side.
Ms. Griffin, excuse me. I think this is better brought up during the non-agenda public communications, which will come up a little bit. We're talking right now specifically about the reappraisal plan itself.
Okay, because it says regarding appraisals.
Well, this is about the plan. You will have an opportunity to address all your comments. You'll have 3 minutes to address all your comments during the non-agenda.
Okay, all right.
All right, we'll call you back in a minute.
Get all your time back.
You haven't used anything yet. Timeline. Right. All right, anyone else?
Pete Wrench, been living the dream in Cleveland, Texas for the last 20 years, resident of Johnson County. I wanted to express public support for the reprisal plan. Thank you, Chairman Trammell, for all the hard work that you and your committee did. I did have a question. Basically, Greg Cooper said everything I wanted to say, other than the fact that these local politicians push this scam on the voters, but it's usually only in election year. When they come up with re-election, they push a scam about how they're fiscal conservatives because they lowered the tax rate a little tiny bit, and yet they're still taking more money out of our pockets. Maybe not everyone's pocket, but most of us have to pay more, even if the rate goes down a little bit because of the prices. But it's entirely their fault, the local elected officials' fault. Tired of hearing them tell us that it's the appraisal district board, it's your fault, or the appraisal staff. It's their fault for your tax bills going up. We don't set the values, they do. Yeah, that's true, but they do so first, before the local entities act and establish the rate. I do have a question. I know that some of the board members were going around to the municipal entities, basically asking for support. Is it still true that the local entities have influence, have votes on who gets appointed to the appraisal board? That's still true. Excuse me? 5 positions, yes. Okay, well, that's what I thought. Thank you for the clarification. I would just add to the comments that Mr. Hunley made, maybe you can convince Representative Kerwin and some of our other fellow legislators in Austin to eliminate any influence that the local taxing entities have on the board members who are appointed, because it's a conflict of interest.
Anyone else? Yeah. This is for the reappraisal plan.
Yes. I did tell you that you wouldn't have to listen to me tonight, but I lied. So, apologies about that. I just want to meet you guys. This is a gutsy move, really a gutsy move on your part. But you said, Steve, why hasn't anybody else in the state stepped up and done this for years? I think it's because they've been intimidated by some of those external factors. And so I'm so proud of you guys. I've been up here planning every month for the last 3 or 4 months about this, and I know you've heard me. But I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, I think a lot of folks have to feel the same way. I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you.
I'm not going to reach for the gavel until I know there's nobody else wants to speak. All right. Close the public hearing at you guys are right. We are pushing the envelope as we pass this tonight. I recognize that. I'm sure all the other board members recognize we're pushing the envelope. My feeling is somebody's got to push the envelope. And I don't see any reason not to start right here in Johnson County. A lot of the issues, as I've gotten deeper and deeper into this property tax system, a lot of the issues revolve around the complexity of the system. I will tell you, I have spoken to the comptroller's office, I've spoken at length with Jim. This is a very complicated system. I think unnecessarily complicated. I'm surprised that different people I speak to, they may know their piece of the system code, but they don't know the other parts of the system. And I think that's something that indicates just how complex the system is. So this reappraisal plan, as I said, we know we're pushing the envelope. Like I said, somebody's got to do it. These comments, taxing units, take 5 of us. You may see a bunch of new faces on here now. But as I've said to others, I would rather not be reappointed by the taxing entities because I spoke the truth than to get back on here by misleading people. With that, I'll open the floor for the board. Any comments on the reappraisal plan? Larry.
I would just like to embellish a point that was made by somebody earlier about going to, especially the school board, where there are passenger records. I really respect Lisa coming and saying what she said. Tina and I went to the Alvarado school board meeting to review their budget. We were the only 2 people there that were not staff. That's it, guys. Where were you?
I'm the one person I got.
Yeah. So we need to start showing.
A good chance to pitch the Truth in Taxes website. If you're not using it, use it. It's a wonderful tool. I signed up for alerts on it, and so I'm getting emailed every time every taxing entity sets their tax rate. It works. So it's sending me everything, even taxes that don't show up on my own tax bill. But when you go to the Truth in Taxes website, there are actual links to your notices of public hearing. And that's the best way to stay informed, because they're not going to mail you an invitation to come to the public hearing, right? And I don't know where they're advertising it, because it's newspapers. So I rely on that. So I know when tax time comes along, I go there and look at every single notice for every taxing entity that shows up on my tax bill will post their notice of public hearing. That was the public hearing notice. So it's a way for you to stay informed on your own tax bill. Super easy to use. You put in your address or your parcel number and just bookmark it. Go look at it a couple times a year.
Well, if they show up to school board meetings because of God, you can't even speak on anything that's not on the agenda.
Well, and then what Larry did share of our experience was, because I didn't sign up by 4 o'clock.
For a 7 o'clock meeting.
For a 7 p.m. meeting, I couldn't speak. Now, it was a public hearing, so they did open the public hearing and let me speak during the public hearing. Well, at Alvarado they will, but the difference is tonight what you saw us do, so thank you to our attorney, and to Jim for having us do things right, was we had the public hearing first. You heard the presentation from Larry, you got information up front, you commented, now we consider it vote. The school district meeting I was at, they just opened the floor. I couldn't see the report because there were no copies available, it wasn't online, so I was speaking without any specifics. Then they closed the public hearing, then they gave the staff presentation. But I couldn't speak because I hadn't signed up hours before. So the way we conducted our public hearing here, where our chair asked, is there anyone else? In many other every request that we've made, every question we've had has been that with answers. But let me tell you more from my head talk to you, I'll walk you through it. Something as simple as CAD, like the minutes to be more detailed. Jessica's got more detailed minutes for us. The form of the reappraisal plan looks so much different than the first draft that we saw. And so we really welcomed the staff's response to having a much bigger workload with a much more engaged board.
One final comment before we move to vote. Since we're going to a 3-year cycle, I would anticipate fewer protests. So hopefully the ARD won't be quite as busy. I would anticipate probably fewer calls to the CAD, questions, issues. So hopefully this will provide some workload relief for the Central Appraisal District and the appraisal board. Having said that, anybody else got anything to say about the plan, or we ready to vote?
I hereby move that we adopt the FY 25-26 reappraisal plan as submitted.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Now we gotta sell it to the school district.
Yeah.
But I didn't teach you.
Get ready.
All right, I skipped over item 4, CAD budget for 2025. I did that because having seen the reappraisal plan and gone through it, I do anticipate some reduction in workload. Hopefully through calls, you got it, not maybe repeating. We do have in the budget, I think, some additional positions that we might want to revisit. So, having said that, I'll open the floor for the directors if they have any comments about the budget. Larry?
Okay, regarding the budget, the 2024 actual budget was $5,001,986. So the 2025 proposed budget as of last July was $5,565,750. So that's an increase of $545,000. I'm going to make a recommendation for a lower budget, and I want to first set the stage for that. First of all, I believe, based on my research, that the inflation into next year is going to be about 2.5%. That's inflation. For your information, they project a 3.3% increase in cost of living allowance for those of us on Social Security. Okay? 3.3. So, as Dwayne said, we hope to have fewer protests under the 3-year evaluation, and we believe that that could mean some savings in admin and ARP. So, my discussion is, I'm somewhere between proposing an alternate budget of a 2.5% increase up to a 3.5% increase in that range. And normally the way we do this in the management world is we go through the budget and we sit down with Jim and say, Jim, can we shave down this line item and this one and this one, and here's how we can get to it. And I'm not doing that. And it makes it harder for Jim. He's the CFO of this organization. It makes it harder on him. But I have many times in my past gone to my directors of various divisions and said, I'm giving you a management challenge. I challenge you to be able to operate under this budget. I I'm not sure how you can get there, but I think you know better than I do.
Yeah.
So I leave it to them. And so that's where I'm gonna head, and let other people talk and see if we coalesce on that in particular area.
And Mr. Chair, last week. So I did a quick analysis, we were trying to look at what the taxing entities are doing and what their budgets are gonna look like, so those are still in process. So I'm just gonna share this with the board, just from my own research. Cleveland ISD increased 5.13%. Burleson ISD, almost 4%. Mansfield ISD, a little over 8%. Alvarado is heading to about 2% decrease. Branson ISD is a decrease of almost 4%. Mansfield ISD is pushing 9% increase. Alvarado ISD is a decrease of almost 2%. Joshua ISD is also a decrease on their school budget of 5%. Godly is a 2.29% increase. The cities, Keene, it looks like they're looking at about a 10% increase. Burleson is about 1.45 increase. Cleveland is 3.4% increase. That averages about 5% for the cities. Johnson County held their increase to about 4.5%. The budget that we have proposed is a 9.6% increase. So that does stand out, and I was gonna recommend we hold it to closer to a 4%, and look at the numbers there. And that would be shaving off another 279,000.
Okay.
That's my input.
Anyone else?
Everything's agreed. Every penny I spend, I have to justify it. And it's debated with my wife. And she
would.
not necessarily. I gotta have a real good argument. And a lot of it is set by the atmosphere, the economy, a group that affects our expenses and our lifestyle. And I have the same thing I can do for her. When she goes wild and says she wants vacation out the world, or what would we do? I say, let's think about the consequences. So, I would say, in the face of the numbers you clearly put out, I've been looking at them as well. And it feels like there should be some compromise on budgetary issues. And I'm not deaf to the fact that you have already done some cost. So, that's my answer.
And I would just chime in with this budget does go to the taxing entities, and we'll be scrutinizing it, seem to be the attention that's been garnered by Tarrant County. I think they disproved the budget. So I think it would behoove us to sharpen our pencils now rather, and I love the concept of graduating item by line. It's coming up with a percentage increase and allowing the simulations budget within that, as long as that is, it passes legal muster.
Well, you have to vote on the budget pretty much tonight.
Right.
Approve, yes or no. I've not seen a situation where it was that open-ended before. Are you comfortable with that? No problem. If that's what y'all want to approve, I guess we can do that. Is in the actual adopted budget, we did need to go out in these months you've got them done. Yeah.
But we're given a bottom line. We'll have a bottom line.
Let me add comments here. inflation. I don't know why the federal government took that out. Yeah, I do know why. I don't know why. But that tends to skew the numbers. The other thing we have to provide for is growth in the county. And anybody getting your car drive around Johnson County for a couple of hours, you're gonna see explosive growth everywhere, in every community. So my view of it is the budget should reflect inflation plus growth. In fact, I gave this more thought earlier in the year, I was advocating for a budget not to exceed inflation plus growth. That would be a starting point, just working down from there. We have very little time to get this done by the 15th, that means this week. So we can have a special meeting later in the week for approval.
We don't have a forum.
We'll have a forum.
You go in town, there is.
By phone or just go on.
Yeah. Yeah, one. Yeah, it's cost of living.
Well, your cost of living index is
Consumer price index.
the cost of living. I said it was Social Security number, Social Security research.
So Dwayne, what were you proposing though for the growth portion? You said look at,
I was thinking something in the range of 4 to 5%.
just for growth.
No, I don't know.
Oh,
I would say 4 to 5%
Oh.
growth in
got it.
inflation.
Or I'm saying 2.5 or 3.5, you're saying 4 or 5.
And it is.
Because of the growth in the county.
Yeah, and then what did you say?
4%.
I agree. I think that could be something cheap one. And we really need to look at a little bit more detail. This whole topic has brought up a whole lot of information that is new to me right now. And I would say that what the country's going through is so what is the same increase? What comes out of the loss now in the election budget?
Right now, it's $5.6, and $76,000. That means that someone, I heard someone drop it another 30%. So y'all tell us the percent. We'll work.
We're at 470, right at 400,000 increase right now. So we're dropping our just-
Maybe what percentage would be?
that'd be 4%.
You want 4%, I want 5%.
I want 3%.
Average. All right, I will entertain a motion then. Budget, resolution, budget approval for the 2024 budget plus X percent to apply to 2025 budget.
I would ask the approval of the budget at 5%.
And authorize Wayne to sign said budget after Jim gets together.
Yes, and authorize that when you can sign that.
I have a motion, 5% increase, authorizing me to sign it once the 5% is done. Do I hear a second? Not, we'll entertain another motion.
instruct his members to meet that 4% increase goal, and that Dwayne would be authorized to allow him to present that as a final.
I second that motion.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Amen. All right, then we move to item A, non-agenda public communications. I have 4 people to speak, I think. 5, Douglas Hartsworth. And let me remind you, you have 3 minutes.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Just appreciate what you guys done tonight there, and I'm thrilled over the subcommittee to look at the whole appraisal process, and I really appreciate the outside company and first set of eyes coming in that you have some ideas that nobody ever thought about, so it's so great. In doing that, one of the things I hope that gets addressed is how land values are calculated. I have asked a few years, with the 2 ARB hearings there, so example, my property happens to be at E3, and it was stated that it's roughly valued at $60,000 an acre. So how do you get a response? I would just like to know how it's done. And there, I presented a sales analysis that was slightly different, but that's a whole separate thing, and in the proper form. The second thing I'd like to comment on there, and I really appreciate Mr. Hudspeth the explanation there, perhaps in a future meeting, explain better the property value study and was it the NPS or something, and how that works, because that is such a black box mystery. And if you could help us understand that and where the fighting points are, or something, I think that would be great. Because I'm nervous, kind of go, what is not what it is. And I'd like to know if you really give it or not. So those are my 2 comments. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Next speaker is Nova Olson.
Yeah, Nova Olson. Just living a nightmare out in Godly. I'm also a precinct chair, precinct 30 out there. And I'm going to reiterate some things that were already said at the key meeting, some were not able to hear. And I'm not the warm fuzzy kind, sorry. Most of us are unhappy with taxes assessed, lack of accountability, quality leadership in Washington that often seem to fear honestly identifying and discussing local problems, or, to use a popular euphemism, unwilling to call a state. This new CAD board has made significant change in a short amount of time already, demonstrating true leadership. For example, reducing the bank fees, and now we have the CAD reappraisal plan. Excellent work in a really short amount of time. One wonders why it's taken such a Herculean, I said that much better the other day, but effort by many key people in this county. Why has it come to this? And Mr. Hudspeth, said, why has it taken so long? If I heard you correctly, you've been doing this here 23 years. Did I hear that correctly? 23 years. And that's 23 years of opportunity. And it's clear that over these years, the system has become more confusing and less fair and standardized. So what I'm asking for is a leader of fairness and clarity. Regardless of what might happen in Austin, I ask you to consider vacating your position and allow a person who does want to be that kind of leader to take your place. As a good friend of mine says, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And I want to be clear, this is not a personal attack. This is not a critique of you personally outside this office. This is a statement of the need for accountability and a demand for high quality, intrinsically motivated leadership. And I hope you really take that intrinsically motivated to heart. 23 years is a lot of time for this system to spiral down and not into quality. I'll leave you gently with wisdom from Genesis 4:7. If you do what is right, will you not be accepted? But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door, it desires to have you, but you must rule over it. Thank you.
Next is Lisa Parrish.
My name is Lisa Parrish. Again, I'm the mayor of Keene. I just wanted to come here tonight. Over the course of the last month and a half, we had multiple people come before our council on 2 different agenda times, and they expressed their unhappiness with the way the system's been run. They are displeased as well. They're being run out of their homes. A lot of them are having to vacate them. They can't afford the taxes. They're frustrated. They get scared every time they open an appraisal bill. They don't know what to expect. They don't know if this is going to be the year that they lose their home. And we discussed this most recently at our last meeting that we had on September 5. And our council came to a very difficult decision, but unanimously they agreed to pass a resolution of no confidence in the Johnson County Appraisal District. And I'm here to present that to you guys tonight. It's with the City of Keene, Texas, resolution number 2024-453, expressing no confidence in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District, making findings and providing an effective date. Whereas the City of Keene, Texas is a home rule municipality located in Johnson County, and whereas residents of the city have been subjected to multiple and excessive property appraisals and valuations, resulting in excessive property taxation. And whereas even with state property tax limitations, including amendments to the Texas Constitution approved by the voters in November of 2023, property taxes in Johnson County continue to skyrocket with no end in sight. And now therefore be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Keene, Texas, that all of the above premises are hereby found to be true and correct and are hereby approved and incorporated into the body of this resolution as if copied in their entirety. The City Council hereby expresses its lack of confidence in the Johnson County Central Appraisal District. This resolution shall take effect immediately from and after its date of passage, duly passed and approved by the City Council of the City of Keene, Texas, on this 5th day of September 2024. And I have signed it, Mayor Lisa Parrish. Yes, this was, just to re-clarify, Mr. Runner reminded me, this was not geared for any particular person. This was not aimed at the current CAD board. We feel that what you've done tonight is a great path forward, and I applaud you for the budget committees that you've done and the appraisal plan that you just adopted and the budget. This is just from past history of people dealing with high appraisals and high taxation and no justification for it. They don't understand the appraisal system and why some properties don't get appraised fairly or equitably well as long as other properties. And that's all it is. It's about the system as a whole and not any individual person. And we thank you all for your service that you're doing here tonight.
Sonia Griffin.
Hello again. Okay, Sonia Griffin. She had a concern that completely correlates with mine. My concern is discrepancy and unfairness and property and land valuations, a lack of fairness and equity. Again, I've lived 900 block of Surrey Place since 1998, a humble neighborhood. Most of the houses built in the late 50s, about 200 square feet. And our taxes are burdensome for the working citizen. So what I did, I found out about the meeting last night and stayed up till board crunch numbers, so bear with me. So what I did is I took a slice of, I live on the west side, I looked at neighborhoods on the west side, and I compared and tried to get apples to apples. I compared year, square footage, acreage, taxes assessed, price per square foot that we're paying, land valuation, and even the 10-year increase in our land valuation, which is very eye-opening. For instance, 1210 Greenbrier, built in 1958, 1,500 square feet, less than a quarter of an acre. Taxes are $3,060. Price per square foot is $1.99. Land valuation is $52,000. Their land valuation increased 88% in 10 years. When you compare that to 709 Stone Lake, which is the most prestigious neighborhood in Cleveland, they are estates versus humble homes. There is a home there, 709 Stone Lake, 82, 7,800 square feet on almost 1/10 acre. Taxes are $10,929. Yet their price per square foot that they are being taxed at is $1.38. This is a custom home. My home was customized by Home Depot. So why is there this discrepancy? And the land valuation was $70,000 for an acre and a tenth. Greenbrier had a quarter of an acre. This property is over 4.5 times bigger. So why is the little guy not represented here? Their property valuations only increased 20% versus 88. 1201 Surrey Place, built in 1959, 1,467 square feet on less than a third of an acre. Taxes are $2,700 a year. Bear in mind they all went down last year, right? Price per square foot, $1.85. Land valuation, $52,000. Again, property valuations went up 80%. So let's look at. Oh shoot! Anybody wants a copy?
Thank you.
Please.
Come on. Yes, please.
Right at the office.
Thank you.
Next is Steve Dunn.
Good evening. My name is Steve Nunley. Thank you all for allowing me to speak this evening. I want to commend the CAD board for having the democracy to make the decision you guys made this evening. Congratulations. What I'd like to visit about this evening has to do with schools, school taxes, school finances, school boards, and so forth. It's sort of a continuation of some of the other concerns, but when you look at schools, school boards, it appears for years they've lived beyond their means. It's kind of like having a blank check. They show up. And really who's doing the final audit? It would seem like an actuarial or a forensic CPA might be needed in some cases to really go back to the mirror. But here's the real problem, and this has been proven in Benton ISD, Benton County, in that, when we have bond elections to finance this, to finance that, and then we have another bond election and it's stacks and it's stacks and it's stacks. So who buys the bonds? Pension funds. Pension funds. Okay? So when we look at the end consequence, so in order to finance all of this, all of the taxes have to continue to rise. Does it seem like the federal government, or 4.4 trillion and rising? Same thing. So the problem is it's a revolving door that continues to be refinanced, and the means to do so comes off of the citizen. And as taxes go up, eventually people cannot afford, and this is what's happening right now. In many communities around the state, around the country, it's not just Texas. And it forces people eventually out of their homes. Who buys these foreclosed properties? BlackRock, Vanguard. Those two are now the largest landlord in the nation. Those two. That's where we're headed. Is that where we want to be? Probably not. That's my thinking. But when we look at other issues regarding local school districts, this is a continuation of last time. You know, we have one school district hired a convicted prostitute coaching the drill team. And then another situation, bullying, unaddressed and supported by the school board. And another situation, another school district, pornographic material, the library. And the list goes on and on. And so the problem is, how do we address it? Maybe those people, those parents that take their students out of school, should be given full credit. And, you know, it's, money talks. And when you start pulling students out of school, they're paid by the head. Not only that, a 25% penalty reduction either by the state or the school board in order to bring all this nonsense to an end. I might add, I hear a rumor, yet unproven, but I hear one local school board is going on junkets to Mexico and they had sex orgies. That's a rumor. I will try to confirm it.
Okay, we move to item 9, staff reports.
Right now, we're big waiting on the reappraisal plan so we can start, what we're gonna do in the future. We'll be working on the budget. I'll make this short so we can all go home. We're in the process, like I say, of going through, waiting on this, getting phone calls, but really getting ready for 2025. Implement this plan right here and look at all the things that have been talked about. We've heard it. The board's heard you. The staff is hearing you. If you have an issue, I just want to report to you, come to the office, talk to us. You know, everyone's a human being and sometimes errors are made and we'll work on it and that's all I've got. Been waiting for this one plan right here. Yes.
Appraisal review board,
Yes.
47% of the protests were withdrawn. I mean, that right?
Yes.
What typically causes someone to withdraw the protest?
They'll look at the information, or they'll come in and talk to an appraiser and sign a subject waiver or withdraw. Yes, that's
what I thought.
Yeah, but that's what happens.
So between withdrawal and settlements, 60%.
And just for y'all's information, in the future, we're hoping to put out on our website, how to protest, and also what information you would bring to the office for us to see, or the ARB if you decide to go there. Exactly, you know, pictures, things that are happening, so you don't just walk in and go, my taxes are too high. That is not the place to go. You say, ARB, you know, my taxes are too high, because they're working on value. We hear it all the time, taxes are too high. That's right, we're talking about value, so if you have that information, it's real helpful. So like the gentleman said earlier, it's this or this, but it's in the middle. That's where we need to talk and come in and talk to the appraisers and all. That's why that is like that.
I would add to that, for those of you who haven't, I'd encourage you to go look at the website. It's completely remodeled. The old one's thrown away, the new one's in there. It has a lot more links, a lot more information.